would have been part of the Prospects Challenge here. Lawrence Pilot still recovering from shoulder surgery. He won't be in main camp, but everything seems to be going very smoothly from that standpoint. We hope that he will look to be playing games somewhere around the middle of October. Luukkonen coming off of a hip surgery. Again, things have been very positive from his rehab. He won't be in main camp. We're looking at a time frame more of the start of November for him to be ready to play games. All the other injury updates will give you a little more once main camp starts.
Well, what did you think of the last 3 days? What was your general impression of what you saw out there on the ice?
Oh, I think it was a great tournament. I thought very balanced between all four teams. I thought especially Friday and Saturday, great atmosphere in the building for our players. And I just think, young players especially, they work so hard in the off season, getting ready for main camp. But there's always an adjustment from summer scrimmages to main camp, and I think our guys went out there, got in a game environment, and it's going to help them a lot making the transformation into main camp now.
Your objective is all along has been to build organizational depth. As you watch these 3 games, how far along do you think you are in that objective?
Well, I think we continue to improve it every year, and I think just the fact that I was very happy with some of our veteran players, such as who have been in our system before, Asplund, Olofsson, how they came in, but also very excited about some of our young defensemen. A guy like Bryson and Fitzgerald coming in for their first camp. I thought they handled themselves very well there too. So, we're excited now to move into NHL preseason games, having some of our young players challenge our veteran players for roster spots, but also too excited about what's developing in Rochester and sort of that next wave of players.
Ristolainen certainly is expected in town and with the guys tomorrow. I mean, where do you think his head is at this point?
When our conversations with him, it's been positive, and I think Bristol's always been someone who comes to camp in extremely good shape, and I think there's going to be an adjustment for all our players with a new head coach, trying to bring together exactly what coaches going to want from a system standpoint, where they fit in with the group, and I'm sure those conversations go well with Risto and our entire team.
Do you have any NHL players coming in on tryouts?
Right now, we don't have any tryout guys. We'll continue to sort of reevaluate where we are from an injury standpoint, have discussions next couple days, but right now, no.
Was part of that the decision not to bring any in at this point, so you can give younger guys like Thompson, Olofsson, a lot of time in training camp?
No, it's something I think we've added to, our young guys that we have coming in there. I thought some of our signs, JSD, Curtis Lazar, players that we want to give an opportunity to. With playing only 6 preseason games, we've set it that way. We want to have a lot of practice time, but it is always a sort of that balance of finding enough games for your veteran players, but giving enough for your young guys. And we're excited to see, how they're going to materialize here and how they're going to push some of our veteran players.
Are you still having a dialogue with Jason Botterill? I mean, is it a possibility at some point?
Obviously, Jason's still in town here. We've obviously continued to communicate with him. We'll continue to communicate with him next couple of days here and make a decision on that.
You mentioned the competition a few times. Where
Yep.
in particular are you really looking forward to seeing some competition take
Well,
place?
I think you certainly see it on the wings, and then also at the defense corps. So I think those are the 2 main spots. But it's one thing I say wing, but I also think we have a lot of players that can play both center and wing, and that gives Ralph different options with his lineup. And one of the big parts I think in the 6 preseason games is going to see, where players have chemistry with each other and what position fits best for them.
You haven't ruled Mountainville out then based on your previous answer at some point. Is that correct?
I haven't ruled it out, but I've also, like I said, we're very excited about where we are from a depth standpoint and the competitions we're going to have, and we want to make sure we give our young players enough of an opportunity. For sure.
I know you didn't want to rush them, but how was it big you were able to get Cousins into this tournament?
I think it just it helps him out a lot more just in preparation for going on the ice for the first time on Friday. Just the speed of the game. And I thought. He worked extremely hard over the last couple of months here, staying in Buffalo, working with our staff, and I know he sort of really wanted to play these games. I thought just from a conditioning standpoint and timing standpoint, getting these games will certainly help him out next
Ralph
week.
has done a lot of camps in his career for different events. He's never done a full NHL camp as a head coach before. What's it been like the last few weeks seeing him prepare for this, and what do you want to see from your coach here in the next week or so?
Well, I think everything has been extremely well organized, and I think you see Ralph communication with myself, but also just with his assistants. And I think it's great having guys that have been on the staff here before, bringing in people like Mike Bales from Carolina, also Donnie Granado from Chicago, you get the best of all worlds. And I think you'll come to realize with Ralph, some of his connections throughout the league, over the last few years, he's sort of picking best practices from all these guys. So what I'm looking for is just, from the entire group, there's a lot of enthusiasm come Friday, understanding that, yeah, we're going to be implementing a new system. There needs to be teaching and learning from that, but also we want to see pace. We want to see work ethic from day one.
Is there an additional challenge that maybe he's not that Ralph is an unknown, he's just a different entity in the sense he's not a retread in that sense. Is there a different challenge that he faces, unlike, say, Quenneville going to Florida, where players know him, that he needs to get across to players to earn their respect?
I think he earns his respect by how he communicates with guys, and I think he's done that already. And I think our players are going to realize very quickly his knowledge of the game. And where my communication's gone really well is, look, it's about winning, but it's also about continuing, especially with such a young team that we have, about developing every day. And I think once players buy in that this guy is going to help them in their career and help them win games, that's where respect comes.
Did the injury maybe put Dylan a little bit behind schedule to the point where it really hurt his chances of making a team? Or does he still have a really legit shot here to push for a roster spot in camp?
Look, Lance, I think it's always difficult for an 18-year-old to make it in the National Hockey League right off the bat. I think the good thing with this type of injury, yeah, it's certainly disappointing they couldn't work on some of his skills, but from a standpoint of working with our strength staff, improving his leg strength, I think he did a great job with that over the last couple of months. So I don't think that will hurt his ability. I just think it's a big jump for an 18-year-old to step into the National Hockey League and really contribute. But we'll certainly give him an opportunity over the next couple weeks here and see what materializes.
You get 9 games if you want them, just
Yep.
to give them a chance. Do you believe in that, or is that something you don't really believe in for a young player?
No, and I think the bigger thing is the accrued season versus the 9 games on the contract. But we'll continue to have dialogue with Dylan and see what's best for not only our team but also for his development over the next week, or if that continues to go well, the next couple months.
Do you expect the Warwinski thing today with Columbus maybe to start opening the logjam and for the phones to really start heating up around the league this week? Any more than normal, maybe?
Tough for me to predict that one. I'm just glad that right now we don't have restricted free agents that we have to sign, and that's what I think I mentioned to you before. I think salary arbitration is a tough process, but it gets all the guys signed up, and there's no distractions. Our team's all signed up. They're all going to be here on Thursday, and we're getting going from that standpoint. So, it won't surprise me. These players are going to eventually get signed here, and I think it can start to come. What that time frame, whether it's this week or the next month, I couldn't tell you.
Would you characterize your phone as being busy at all in the last few days?
Well, I think it's always busy, but look, it's been good with just interacting with our staff here because they're all here, and I think there's excitement around the league just because you're back in arenas, you're back watching games, so it's not all these fictitious conversations on what you're actually seeing players and you're starting to evaluate players again.
From Ralph's perspective, as he said, it's open competition, players will decide things, but as you help with that roster building, how much does past experiences, how much do contracts come into who stays and who goes once this season gets underway?
Well, I think we've shown in the past, just it hasn't been lip service, it's been with our actions, that if players knock out veteran players, they're going to have the opportunity to be here, and that's what we're going to be looking for. And we talked a lot to that about players coming into our organization, giving them an opportunity. We've talked a lot about our returning players, challenging them to be ready to go right away, because we wanted to bring more players in to have more success as an organization. So I think the competition is going to be great for the next couple of weeks, and I think you probably hear it in Ralph's voice. He's excited about getting things going. And I think a lot of our players, whether it was you saw in Chicago with Jack and Rasmus, they want to get things going. They've had enough. They've worked hard in the off season. Now it's getting ready to go out there and start performing.
Your vision for this team has been to advocate more speed,
Yep.
better on the attack, better on the pressure. It's only 3 games with prospects. Do you get more of an idea that you're going to see more of that with this team going ahead?
Well, I thought there was a lot of guys competed hard, guys played with pace, and especially really like it on our back end. I thought our defense did a really good job, whether it's Yogi Harju, Bryson, Fitzgerald, getting up with the play. You even see the development from a year's time from a player like Will Borgen. Thought he played very physical in his 2 games, and that's sort of probably what is drawn most of the crowd is drawn to. But what I really liked was his gap. He was up in the play a lot, didn't give the opponents very much space at all, and that's just a small sample size. But hopefully that carries over to our group, and it's simple. It's a speed game, and we're trying to get faster. We're trying to obviously get players that can skate faster, but also move the puck faster and play a faster game.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.